Welcome to Harvest to Pour, the business of beverages, with your host, Matthew Shipp. This is the podcast for all of those who are involved in the agriculture all the way to the distribution of beverages. And now your host, Matthew Shipp.
Welcome back to another Workshop Minute on Harvest to Pour, the business of beverages. I'm your host, Matthew Shipp, and today we're going to explore a critical aspect of business team dynamics, specifically how a facilitator can enhance decision-making and problem-solving within your team, and when to be a leader and when to be a facilitator. So understanding and making the best business decisions is crucial for all businesses, whether you're a beverage business or a donut-making shop. How you can create that environment where your team feels secure and makes quick decisions and solves problems effectively, well, that's where the facilitator comes in. So let's dive in. In my last Workshop Minute, I talked about how to structure specific meetings. Each one of them needs a leader or a facilitator to guide the meeting. And the best way to put this is for leaders and facilitators. A mentor of mine once said, having an adaptable problem-solving framework that can also adapt to how the team likes to solve them will make for a team that is engaged and effective. This is an element all good leaders should possess. So, shortly we'll get into why the difference between a leader and a facilitator and how these two work together. So, having facilitator skills as a leader is ideal. You're the guide to better outcomes for your business, and you keep the team focused. Problems are inevitable, but how a team approaches problem solving can make all the difference. So a facilitator's role in this case, facilitator encourages a structured problem solving process. They help the team define the problems to explore, they explore solutions, and implement the best course of action collaboratively. So, think about the last time you had a hiccup in your business processes or customer service. Facilitator can guide your team through identifying the root cause, brainstorm solutions, and implement changes efficiently. So I give one idea is I did a roastery audit where they were about to go into groceries and they needed to take a look at how they were doing their production. And so what we did is we mapped out everything that they were doing and realized that they could condense their productivity into almost 2 days and then leave the rest for planning and optimizing. So by that, they were able to be prepared for the inventory and product demands that were going to be put on them once they moved into grocery. Another structured piece is problem solving around menu design. You also have situations where the line was too long and the team came together and decided, well, that's part of our problem is the line's long and just because the menu is up front at the cashier's desk and nobody sees it till they get there. And then the decision and the discussion happens at the cash register and the line gets longer and things get backed up. So once you get to those points of identifying the problem, fast decision making is key, or else you're going to be there all day trying to make these decisions and it goes round and round and round. So in the beverage industry or any other business, how do you ensure your team can make decisions quickly without sacrificing quality? So facilitator's role in this situation can streamline decision-making by guiding discussions, setting clear objectives, and ensuring everyone's voice is heard. This accelerates the decision-making process. So a good example is also that menu design. They needed to figure out how to quickly fix this problem, and the decision was made to create their own digital menu board that hung above the cashier's desk. Well, they went ahead and created a workshop. They were able to go through and design their own independently, choose the best aspects, pull it together into a master, and then pull in a branding and marketing person, which they had all the information there in front of them. And they made a beautiful digital menu that also not only looked nice, but helped people while they were in line make decisions of what they wanted before they got to the front. So those are two major pieces for a facilitator. You want quick, fast problem solving and fast decision making. So now as a business leader or a manager in this case, it's easy to think I need to drive all these decisions. But if you play the role as a facilitator, you need to take some things into mind if you want to be successful at this. So there's a certain mindset you need around a facilitator versus being the leader. So as a facilitator, you should be the facilitator when you want to gain your team's insights. So you are, again, a guide in this situation. So you're looking toward what your team ideas they have or problem solving things they have. This also helps you better understand the dynamics of your team. So who are your starters? Who are your implementers? And who are your finishers? So by taking a step back and being the guide, you get to see your team at work in front of you. Also, again, like I've said guide several times, you do want to be seen as the guide. This gives you a more of a servant leader role. So you're helping them be better at what they do. This also instills psychological security. And a good reason for that is if you come in as just the guide and not the decision maker at this point, they are going to become over time more comfortable with sharing their ideas and being open with problems they're having without worry of scrutiny. This also, and this comes to me in a personal way because I was with in my old job, we had a leader and he'd always like to be the guide up until the very end where he finished with one of his ideas. And what happened was we originally enthusiastically would come up with great ideas for whatever we're working on. But in the end, each time he just went with his idea, we became less enthusiastic and just kind of mailed it in because we knew in the end, we were just having this session or meeting for him to validate his own idea. You don't want to do that. So also, if you are the guide and you are facilitating as a facilitator these problems, you're going to empower them to be more independent thinkers. And what happens there is that more independent thinking they are, the more confident they are around their decisions, the less they're going to be asking you and pulling you into the business or pulling on the manager to take care of everything. And the more you can focus on growing your business. So you also need to consider when you do not need to be the facilitator and you need to be the leader. So when not to be a facilitator is if you want to share your ideas too. So if you want to be in this group and you want to pitch your own ideas and the attention needs to be on you because you're setting the boundaries, you're setting the stakes, and you're running this meeting. Now, if you're trying to say, we need to have a meeting so I can tell everybody what they need to do, maybe that should be an email, not a meeting. Also, if you feel the need that you have to pitch your idea or influence the final decision, then you're a decision maker, you're a leader, you're not the facilitator or guide. Also, when not also to be the facilitators, if you want to step into the team role. So the positive piece is if you want to step back in with your team, become part of your team and get into the decision-making process and problem-solving process with them, kind of get in the mud with them. That's another time you do not want to be the facilitator. You want to assign somebody to be the facilitator, or in fact, have somebody outside of the company, a non-biased individual or facilitator, come in and run the session. So a leader and a facilitator should not be opposed in their goals, though. They should work together. So a leader and a facilitator can work together in a meeting by understanding their distinct roles. The leader should focus on setting up an agenda, goals, and overall direction for the meeting. The facilitator then guides the discussion to help achieve these goals. The facilitator ensures all participants have a chance to contribute and that discussion remains on track and productive. The leader can provide input as needed, but relies on the facilitator to manage the flow and dynamics of the conversation in a neutral way. So the facilitator is going to make sure everybody has a voice. They're going to pay attention to the energy of the meeting or the session, and they're going to ask open-ended questions to keep the discussion going. So they're going to practice good communication and clarity on roles between the leader and the facilitator. Those roles help the meeting run smoothly and get their desired income. So working together, when the leader sets the agenda, the facilitator makes sure they stay on task. And then the leader can come in and be a decision maker in the end. Now, this point is different. The psychology is a little different. If you have somebody facilitating, and in the end, there's a bunch of ideas and solutions on the table, Then you can call in the business owner as a leader and decision maker because you've already set that standard, and they can come in and make the final decision. So this will work great with a team. He said, now the team doesn't look like you're calling a meeting just to validate your idea. You have an outside, non-biased person facilitating the meeting. And in the end, everybody's ideas were there. And your ideas are going to go through a filtering process, just like everybody else's. You're not saving your final idea for the end. And in the end, you're going to be more influenced by your team's decisions and problem solving. And you may end up changing your mind halfway through. So that way you still look like you are a leader with your team, not a leader on your team. All right. So we've explored how Facilitator can enhance the psychological security and fast decision-making and problem-solving within your team. In a dynamic world of beverages or businesses, having a team that operates seamlessly is a key ingredient to success. When you should be the facilitator and when an outside facilitator is best for the job. So consider how these strategies can apply in your business. Maybe it's time to bring in a facilitator for your next strategy session or team building workshop. Again, keep in mind when you want to be the facilitator and when you do not want to be the facilitator. And when the times you shouldn't be the facilitator, bring in an outside person or have somebody outside their department, if you are big enough of a company, come in and be the facilitator where they do not have any influence over the decision. So thank you for joining us on the Workshop Minute on Harvest to Pour. If you have any questions or you'd like to learn more about facilitating to your team or need a facilitator to guide your next problem-solving decision-making session, please reach out. You can find me at mberrysolutions.com or in the show notes. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you for listening to Harvest to Pour, the business of beverages with Matthew Shipp. Check the show notes for our guest contact information and connect with Matthew Shipp on LinkedIn today.